This is the Bat Pod.
The Bat Pod presents Gotham Currents, a podcast about current releases of Batman comics.
Welcome to episode 153. My name is Bill Bere, and joining me tonight, John Koos.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Good. Getting better, getting over a little sickness. We've been a little delayed. You guys out there probably won't see that we're that much delayed because we have some episodes already in the can, but we're getting back after a few weeks, and we're going to tackle some Absolute Power this week.
Yeah, we are.
So we got Absolute Power Task Force 7, number 2, Absolute Power Origins, number 1, and Green Arrow, number 14. If you'd like to join the conversation, our email is thebatpod@thebatpod.com. We are on Twitter /X at @thebat_pod, and we are on Facebook. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to jump into some Absolute Power.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
The stuff we review, a little old, a lot of new. Come and join in all the fun, help clean up when we're done. Come party with the professor. Come party with the professor. Professor Frenzy Show. Professor Frenzy Show. Professor Frenzy Show. The Professor Frenzy Show.
If you like indie comics and also like podcasts, please try The Professor Frenzy Show. Find the show in iTunes search and Facebook. Episodes tweeted out on @ProfessorFrenzy on Twitter. Thank you.
So we're going to start off with Absolute Power Task Force 7, number 2, written by John Layman, artist Max Raymer. So we left off with Superman 16, where Zatanna proposes that she and Superman can travel the mystical dark roads incognito and find the map of Madru, and that Superman's previous death will assist them in their journey through the dark realm. They also allude to Batman and Wonder Woman developing an elaborate victory plan. Oh, and Lois Lane appears in a Supercorp, formerly LexCorp, battlesuit, ready for action. Got the cover here. You see a new character, a Amazo character called Depth Charge, looming over a group of challenged heroes under attack. Negative Man, Tempest, Beast Girl, Elasti-Woman, Aquaman, and Aqualad. Starts off with a defeated and bewildered Elasti-Woman on a beach, not remembering how she got there. An armless robot man reminds her that they and fellow Doom Patrollers, Beast Girl and Negative Man, came upon the beach where Aquaman and Tempest were fighting with one of the Amazos. Depth Charge. Rushed to assist and were zapped by Amazo, knocking them out and stealing their powers. Robot Man remembers the Amazo making off with Aquaman. Tempest greets them. They don't exactly explain how he doesn't know that Amazo took off with Aquaman, but Tempest does make a couple important statements, which we will come back to. It left us, meaning Arthur is crucial to their plans, but not us. And Aquaman's half human. If his powers have been taken away, he can't breathe underwater. Then we turn to Atlantis, where the Amazo known as Depth Charge is using aqua telepathy to command sharks to subdue the population. He also is 10 stories tall, apparently using Elasti-Woman's powers. The Amazo tells the good citizens of Atlantis that the Bureau of Sovereignty's fight isn't with them, but the metahumans on the surface. Aqualad Jackson Hyde mounts a minor resistance. Aquaman, imprisoned in a gold cube, tells him to stand down. The Amazo gets angry, tells Aquaman he can't order people around and he's in charge. He gets pissed and throws the cube against a building, giving time for Tempest and the newly arrived Doom Patrol to break him out of the cube and escape with them in their Doom Patrol underwater vessel. The Amazo reports to Amanda Waller that Atlantis is pacified. But she wanted the Atlanteans to be allies against the metahumans. So that doesn't make her happy, nor does the learning that Aquaman escaped. We shift scenes to the Bureau's super prison and a short scene with a quarreling Sarge Steele and Steve Trevor. Trevor deduces that Steele wants to set up Trevor to look like he's feeding Wonder Woman information. After he says that, Steele smacks him with his metal hand, knocking him out. And it ends with him talking into his Dick Tracy watch saying, "I have a prisoner I need transported to lockup." What do you think, Bill, of Task Force 7 number 2?
Well, the one thing I will say right off the top is I like seeing some of these, teams that we don't usually see. I like seeing the Doom Patrol, Tempest, Aquaman. But I have a lot of questions that come from here. It's almost more than answers, because we're thinking about these Amazos taking away these powers from these heroes. And they mention, well, if they take it away from Aquaman, he won't be able to breathe underwater. Does that make sense to you?
Well, Bill, it does not. In fact, I actually leaned on the expertise of Rob Kelly, Aquaman expert, and he says that Aquaman does have enhanced powers over the average Olympian, like the telepathy, the super strength, the enhanced speed, but the breathing piece really shouldn't be considered a power because they all can do it. And so in my opinion, it's like, well, is me being able to hear a power? Is me being able to see a power? And so that doesn't make sense to me, that that breathing underwater is a power for an Atlantean.
And you have to think, what other powers does he have besides the average Atlanteans?
Right.
And those would be considered powers. These normal things, breathing underwater, that doesn't seem like that's a power.
Right. Absolutely. That was the thing. And that is one nuance of this book already. I mean, aside from the fact that we don't know how they're taking the powers. I mean, Amazo could duplicate powers, the original one from the 60s, but taking their powers, that whole concept is frustrating me a bit. And this added piece about the breathing underwater being a power doesn't make sense. But before we get into some more questions, let's just cover the cover real quick, only because one thing I like about the Task Force 7 covers is they all kind of have the same format with a large Amazo, this time depth charge, over sort of distressed heroes. And sort of we see Aquaman and we see members of the Doom Patrol. What do you think of these covers so far generally?
I enjoyed for the most part.
Yeah, they're fine. They're good.
Yeah. It's nothing that I'm going through the comic shop, and if I wasn't going to buy this, it's nothing that's going to say, "Ooh, I need this."
So one of the things I've noticed in these Task Force books is that these Amazos are kind of screwed up in some way because they're something with their programming. In the first issue, there was this big fight with an Amazo where it was quoting Charles Dickens all the way through, like we talked about.
Yes.
And then they kind of gave a clue that maybe they're adopting some of when they take powers, they're taking other things that is messing up their programming, right? Because in this issue, the depth charge character is like overly emotional, and he screws up his mission in not getting Aquaman. I mean, what are you seeing here right now with this?
I see trend? Like he wants to be in charge, and he gets upset when his authority isn't being recognized. He said his superiority, his authority, his dominance says you will recognize all those or you will pay. He seems to have an ego.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought of this until now, but Aquaman sometimes is depicted as being a hothead. Said he grabbed some of Aquaman's hot-headedness as part of the power stealing. I don't know. So
that's a good possibility. I mean, it might be.
And put a pin in that for now, because we're going to cover that probably in the future with this whole, absorption issue and maybe some side effects of the absorption of powers and stuff. But my last bigger observation, I suppose, is what's the deal with Sarge Steele? Like, he seems to have a different agenda than Amanda Waller.
That's what it felt like, especially the previous issue. It felt like that he didn't agree with everything that she's doing, and he's kind of has his own, as you said, agenda. But we don't know what that is, and you would think that you'd want to get Steve Trevor on your side, but
yeah, that didn't take long.
No.
He smacked him in the face, and yeah, that was interesting. So I don't know. You got any other observations about this issue?
No, not really. It's just the questions are, overall, I thought it was good. Just the questions about Aquaman, his powers. Is like when you think of Aquaman, you don't necessarily think of breathing underwater because all the Atlanteans can breathe underwater. That was my only thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Fun issue though. Overall, I think it was fun. Just that overshadowed the issue a bit for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it out of my head as I finished the issue because that was revealed by Tempest, like on page 2 or 3, and I was just like still gnawing at me. But whatever. So moving on, we're going to move on to Absolute Power Origins #1, written by John Ridley and penciled by Aletha Martinez. Our story starts out in the not too distant past with parallel scenes of Joe Chill's famous murdering of Thomas and Martha Wayne and a teenage girl's death also in an alley. This turns out to be Amanda Waller's daughter. Moving forward a bit, if only in the Batman timeline, we find parallel scenes of Batman apprehending Joe Chill while Amanda Waller's husband confronts the Candyman, a notorious local drug dealer and hustler, the supposed protagonist in Waller's teenage daughter's death. Waller's husband shoots the Candyman at close range, only to discover that the Candyman fired his gun simultaneously, both dying instantly. Next, we move to a scene at the Waller home where we learn Amanda has 2 teenage boys and another teenage girl. When the police visit the household, they inform her that the police report states that her husband died in the commission of a felony. She protests, saying that everyone knows the Candyman is behind not only her daughter's death, but her rape. And if it is written this way, they won't get any life insurance money. The cops basically say he shouldn't have taken the law into his own hands, and then poses this obvious question: what was your daughter doing hanging around a guy like that? Good question. Good question. Then we move a little forward in time with a police officer providing Amanda an internal police file, and the scene implies that the Candyman was working with people inside City Hall. More on that in a second. Next, we see Amanda begin to volunteer for City Councilman Marvin Collins, who's running for Congress. We have many scenes with her putting in crazy hours, morning to evening, during the campaign. We learn that his political opponent is a vigilante-supporting candidate named Dexter Weinard. Amanda isn't simply using the campaign HQ to volunteer. There's a panel with an open document on the computer entitled Project X Proposal. Amanda monologues about the scourge of vigilantes. We get a sad scene of Amanda arguing with her daughter about her grades, and the daughter accusing Amanda of never being home, but Amanda protests, saying that she is doing everything for her and her brothers. Then the story takes a turn. She apparently hired a prostitute to set up congressional candidate Dexter Weinand, the opponent of the man she's working for. She obtains a thumb drive from the prostitute. The scene implies the drive has explicit evidence of a kinky nature. She attempts to give the thumb drive to the candidate that she's working for, Marvin Collins, but he protests and said he has principles. Then she discloses information she obtained from that police file I referenced earlier on the Candyman, that he was giving kickbacks to Marvin as a city council member. She goes on a monologue about how she's going to get the vigilantes and he's going to help her do it. She's going to get him elected by ruining his opponent with the evidence on the thumb drive. Then once Collins is in Congress, she will tell him what to do. We end with a final page of Marvin Collins winning Congress and close-ups of Amanda looking clever, while stating, "Father God, I swear to avenge my family by spending the rest of my life going to war with every single one of these expletive marks." So, Bill, let's start with the easy stuff first. Let's start with the cover. You want to describe the cover?
Cover is like a lifelike cover of Amanda holding what looks to be her child in a graveyard. with somebody in the background in tears. I guess is that her in the background in tears?
Yeah, I think it's her floating head is in the background. But you're right, it is like a photograph, which you don't usually see on comic covers. So I thought it was a good cover.
Yeah, I think it's so.
And but maybe that's where. But let's get into the issue. So,
it's titled, Waller Year One. And I see how this is going, and they want you to think it's going, in parallel to Bruce Wayne and what happens with him and that sort of thing. And this is supposed to be the origin story of how she started hating of vigilantes. And overall, I think the story is not bad. I don't think it's bad at all, but it does nothing to show us why she hates vigilantes.
Agreed.
Is it because her husband decided to become a vigilante for their daughter and shoot the rapist and killer, and he ended up dying because, I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, I think that's the most charitable explanation, to be honest with you, that vigilanteism led to her husband's death, but the early parts of the issue with the parallel story of Bruce Wayne's parents being killed, and then the subsequent there's a press conference with Gordon and stuff talking about how Batman apprehended Joe Chill and how he's now in custody, yada, yada, yada. It's like the comic tried to make a linkage between the two. And I was like,
I don't think there's a link.
Yeah. I went back like 3 times. I go, why is she angry at the vigilantes? And if it's not about superhero vigilantes, why even include this whole thing about Bruce Wayne and stuff and Batman if it's about her husband, which I don't think it is. I think they were like trying really hard to make her hate vigilantes, and I think they kind of struck out so far. I don't get it.
I mean, we're one issue in, so I guess it could bounce back. I don't see the reference in the beginning of, Gordon get on the TV, because she's watching this news and Gordon saying how they closed one of Gotham's most notorious cases, Joe Chill, the murder of Martha and Thomas Wayne, and how that has anything to do with her.
It's a mystery.
And that, I guess it's sort of ironic because they weren't rich. They were on the poorer side, especially compared to the Waynes. And, something good happened that involved a vigilante to the Waynes, but something bad happened when her husband tried to become this, vigilante. Not that he tried to become, he just tried to avenge his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that it's related. I don't know how they're.
I don't get it, man. But maybe we have to have an open mind. Maybe more stuff will be revealed in issues 2 or 3.
Is there something happened that we're not seeing?
Let's hope so. But
because it doesn't make any sense how she would be so angry about vigilantes, and the only thing that happened, she might be angry with the police, but I don't see how vigilantes has anything to do with her anger at this point.
Me either. A couple other things about this plot that I want to get into. This plan of hers to get close to a Congress member and stuff, like, so that therefore she could pull his strings when he gets elected to Congress. It's like, I know a bit about politics. I mean, I've been involved in local politics and stuff, and I've seen campaign volunteers, blah, blah, blah. But, like this whole notion that she goes, light bulb goes off in her head. I'm going to go work for this guy who's running for Congress, and I'll do something in that during my volunteerism that will get me so close to him that I can then have something over his head and basically blackmail him so he can just be this hollow congressman in the future. So let's assume he gets on the appropriations committee, or he gets on the whatever committee, like the foreign affairs committee, that she's going to be telling him how to vote. Well, Congress has got like 430 35 people. And these committees in Congress are like sometimes 40 people and stuff. Like, I'm not sure if that's the logical route to power, is to sidle up with a freshman congressman and then just pull his strings. I mean, it
has to go somewhere beyond this. So her power must, what is her plan? Her plan has to be beyond this one guy. Because what is one guy going to do?
Well, yeah, but agreed. I mean, it's not the president who has lots of powers. It's not a senator, which has a bunch of powers that congressmen don't have. I mean, you're in Congress for a long time before you actually have any real power. You know, you got to climb the leadership and all this other stuff. So whatever. I guess we'll see how that plays out. But it seemed a little far-fetched to me that this would play out this way. And I guess she had this blackmail thing all in mind all along. But, you know, and the other thing that I observe is that, you know, while she's saying that she's doing all this for her family, she's coming across as kind of a crappy mom, to be honest.
Yes.
You know, and that whole scene about the kids and there was more to it that I didn't cover about. It's clear that her time away is actually depriving them of, you know, getting guidance from their only living parent now. And so there's a dichotomy there that, you know, maybe will play out in the story. But I did notice a continuity problem. It might sound like a nitpick thing. I don't know. So there's this scene where Amanda Waller is in a park with the candidate's wife, and they're talking. And then she says to the wife, "I lost a son, a daughter, and my husband, and the law didn't do a damn thing." I go, wait a minute. When did she lose a son? Because the daughter gets killed or something, ODs. We don't know exactly what happens to her before the comic starts. She's dead in an alley. And then she's got 2 kids and a daughter after that. But she just tells the wife that she lost a son. So hopefully that's not an error, and that there's maybe some other reveal later that she also loses
there has to be another reveal.
Anyway,
that might be it right there, that there's another reveal coming and we just haven't seen it. I don't know.
We'll find out when we cover the future issues. I'm going to make sure I keep this in mind.
But I have a pet peeve about, you know, having a story and going back to flashbacks and things missing. Oh, we didn't tell you this, but now it's 3 issues in and this is what happened and that we didn't tell you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. I'll leave it to that, because we're 1 issue in, 3 issues.
Totally.
And this is supposed to put the groundwork in what the origin behind Amanda Waller and where she is in absolute power. So.
Yep. So let's cross our fingers that all will be revealed and make sense as we read the next 2. But okay, moving on. We got Green Arrow 14 called Arrows Against the World, written by Joshua Williamson, and artists are Amanke Nalpan and Sean Izaksi. I got those right. And I love this book so far. I think this is one of the best books in continuity right now. It starts with an absolute power recap to bring Green Arrow readers up to speed that the heroes have been taken out by Amanda Waller's cadre of Amazos. Failsafe and Green Arrow are shown to be on Waller's team. Then we move to a scene where a holographic Batman and Nightwing are talking to the Arrow family in Oliver Queen's brand new Arrow Cave. Woot woot. The Arrow family on hand includes Roy Harper, Emiko Queen, Arrowette, Red Canary, Mia Dearden, Leon Harper, and Cheshire. Batman tells them of Oliver's betrayal. Roy wants to get in the game. Batman says that Oliver is likely watching them and to stay on Arrow Island. As soon as the holograms dissipate, Roy states that they are going to ignore Batman's orders, as Roy Harper would do. While exploring the new Arrow Cave, Connor Hawk emerges from the shadows. They all fly off to defeat the Amazos and take off in 3 separate Arrow jet planes in search of answers from Anthony Ivo, the mad scientist who created the original Amazo. With information Cheshire obtained from her network of villains, they head to Death Valley, California, the last known hideout of Ivo. They open a sand-covered trapdoor in the middle of the desert, then descend it down into the hideout. But he's not alone. Ivo is there, and they engage in a scuffle. And he gets away, but he's not alone. He is reconstructing Tomorrow Woman. They engage in a melee with her. She uses her powers to elevate the entire Arrow family into the sky. Then she lets them go. That's cliffhanger number 1. Do they survive falling from 1,000 feet in the sky? Then we see Anthony Ivo in a dune buggy getting away. While recklessly driving across the dunescape, the buggy is zapped with an explosive. He's thrown from the vehicle. We learn it is one of Waller's armored badasses. He's the one that apparently shot Ivo's dune buggy. And he says, "Don't worry, smarty pants, I'm here to save you." It ends with Cheshire coyly stating, "We never should have left the island." Dun, dun, dun. So, whew. All right, let's start with the cover of Green Arrow. I don't know if you got any comments on that.
Yes, this is looks like a Phil Hester cover. I could be wrong. I believe it's Phil Hester. But I like the cover. I really enjoy the cover. You have Green Arrow with shooting arrows into the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Nightwing Flash up at the top.
Yeah, wanted posters.
Yes, wanted posters.
All those characters. Yeah, kind of telling us, he's on the bad guy team for now or whatever. But it's a cool cover. Got a lot of movement to it. I like it. What about the issue itself?
Oh, the one thing I love is seeing the Arrow Cave. That was the one of the things that come about from Green Arrow's history that I like. So what? It's a copy of Batman. I really like to see that. I want to see what exactly he has in here. I see targets and stuff.
No, I agree too.
But it just was created. I guess it was created by the kids, though. The side
cave?
kids. Well, not originally, but this particular one.
I got the impression that they...
Or is this the original one? They're like, the new Arrow Cave.
Not sure, but, I do like the issue a lot. I love the holographic scene with Batman telling Roy and the gang to stand down, kind of knowing that he's going to ignore those orders before he even does, which is cool. And, the Arrow family is kind of cool. A lot of them. I mean, it might be bigger than the Bat family at this point.
Yeah.
There are a lot.
One's technically an assassin, but...
Yeah, Cheshire, but she is the mother of Roy Harper's daughter,
right?
Leon, Leon. She, they're all there. They're all Arrow proficient, except for Cheshire, who I've always liked their relationship. Frankly, going back to the pre-Flashpoint era, I always liked Cheshire and Roy. Kind of fun dynamic there. Blue Red Canary characters, I think she came from Dark Crisis. I haven't totally figured her out yet, but anyway, I like the banter between them. I love the ensemble cast thing. The 3 planes. All right, we know he's rich, right? But 3 aeroplanes. It's kind of Silver Age-ish, huh? To have all this stuff, right?
A little bit,
but. It's pretty cool. I like the story, and the Ivo stuff is kind of funny.
Well, and you think Amazos, you think Professor Ivo because
right.
he came up with the Amazos.
Right. So,
and then Tomorrow Woman. Are you familiar with her?
I had to look it up, so maybe you can provide a little color on that.
Well, she was made by Professor Ivo. I think it was in Grant Morrison's JLA run.
Okay.
And she was on the Justice League. I think he created memories for her that were false. And I can't remember the outcome of her story, but I know she was in his run.
Okay. Yeah. The art's really cool. There's some really good depictions of explosions and action. This was a solid comic book. I think
it's been good. I really like it. I just want some answers, and they didn't need to give it to me here, but about Green Arrow, because a Green Arrow really isn't in this.
No, he's not. Good point. He's not in this.
And it didn't feel like, I'm missing out because he wasn't in it. I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
And what is that thing at the end? You know,
You mean the guy is that a robot suit or is that
a robot something?
Or is he an alien of some kind?
He looks like he has teeth. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that.
He says, I'm here to save you, but it sort of looks like a robot, but I don't know what it is. But then again, up there, it says Task Force up on that little hover copter or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah. And the dune buggy was a nice touch. I mean, Dr. Ivo in a dune buggy. Okay, fine. And the cliffhanger of them all being in the sky and being dropped. It's like, okay. I mean, is someone going to come along and scoop them up before they hit the pavement or the dirt? I don't know. But it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right. Well, I think in our next installment, we will continue on with the theme of absolute power because it's Batman related. And we're going to cover issues. So in our next episode, we will be covering Absolute Power Task Force 7 number 3, Absolute Power number 2, Absolute Batman 151. I'm looking forward to all of those because the Absolute Power Task Force book and the Absolute Power number book has been good, and Batman's been great. So, look forward to that.
Yes, it should be interesting. So we'll be back here in a few weeks. Until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. We will see you later.